to convince you that you are of value to God before you do this thing. That's about as general and quick as I can be on that. Why does the Saudi Arabian government confiscate all Bibles and Christian literature brought into Saudi Arabia and destroy them, unless indeed they fear the truth of Christianity and so on? In the first place, I don't know if they do that or not. If they do, you'll have to ask them why. They don't get it from Islam. If they do that, they get it from some idea, I don't know where. There also may be more going on there than I know about. For example, Islamic law tells the Muslim, if you have Jews and Christians living in your midst, but you're the rulership, you're supposed to build them churches and synagogues. And so they do in some places. There's a nice, big, beautiful, modern church in Kuwait that the government built for the Christians there, because in their law, they must look after these other people. In Saudi Arabia, however, they don't build any synagogues for the handful of Jews. Why is that? Well, it seems to me it comes down to the Jews who have demanded to have a synagogue built have said, if you build me that synagogue, then you must recognize the Israeli government. And the Saudis have said, whether or not I do that, you can't tie a political issue to a religious issue. So drop that demand and we'll build you your synagogue. Or so I understand the story. In any case, these things are political issues, and if you're going to point out the behavior or misbehavior of Muslims, I could do the same of anybody, I suppose. It's not really a productive way of figuring things out, or saying, well, this one is better behaved than that one. Maybe this one that's so well behaved is an atheist. It really doesn't necessarily have any connection with religion. Does the Quran have any promises and teachings for freedom from fears, bondage of alcohol and drugs, mental illness, healing for the body, and so on? Yes, by all means. As I mentioned before, a verse tells the Muslim that there is nothing which is forbidden for you except that it is forbidden for the reason that it's not good for you. There's nothing commanded for you except that it is a benefit to you. And in particular, it doesn't tell you not to drink alcohol. It tells you don't even go near intoxicants. And it uses the word khamr, which is sometimes translated wine, but that's a feeble translation. Khamr is a form of the same word as used to talk about a lady's headdress, something wrapped around her head. Saying anything which dulls the brain, be it marijuana or wine or pet pills or whatever it is, don't even come near it. It doesn't say don't take it. It says don't even come near it. So we really don't have alcohol abuse for a start. That is a benefit. There's various other things. Somebody mentioned another one here, but it's of a nature that will embarrass everybody if I mention it, concerning cleanliness of the body, which is within Islam, and it has been proven to be of great value in preventing certain cancers, but I won't go into detail. I'll be embarrassed if you won't be. If the term Son of God was considered to be synonymous between Jesus and the Jews, why did the Jews consider it a blasphemy when he acknowledged the term in himself and so on? Well, any number of reasons, I suppose. Maybe the Jews didn't understand what he meant for a start. You see, a person can be in a curious situation, I find at least, where on the one hand they'll tell you that the disciples of Jesus didn't understand who he was until it was revealed to them. But on the other hand, they'll tell you his enemies knew what he meant. Look, he said this. They knew what he meant. They had it figured out right from the start. It makes it sound like you're saying Jesus got a fair trial, when the Bible says they manufactured evidence at his trial. In other words, to me it seems like a strange kind of an argument to say the reason we know Jesus meant what he said he meant is that his enemies said that's what he meant. That seems strange to me. As I said, modern Jews today, and I give as a reference the article Jesus Christ in the Universal Jewish Encyclopedia, they'll tell you that modern Jewish scholars review the words of Jesus and they wonder what made their ancestors so angry, because they don't find the excitement there. They figure it must have had something else that was annoying them. Maybe what annoyed them is that he used to point people out in the crowd and say, that one's a liar. That probably aggravated a lot of people, among other things. All right, thank you.
I would like to thank both speakers for answering as many questions as they could. Due to time limitation, we won't be able to go on answering questions. Before we close, we would like to give each speaker 5 minutes to comment on anything or any point related to the topic. We start with Minister Jimmy Swaggart. Thank you.
2,000 years ago, Jesus met a woman at a place called Jacob's Well. The Bible tells us her life had been one of abuse. There was guilt, hurt, and pain. And he told her, speaking of the water from the well, he said, "Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again." It's found in St. John chapter 4, verses 13 and 14. "But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him, a well of water springing up into everlasting life." And I close with this. It's one thing to have a religion, to have a philosophy, even to have a belief, and you may be very sincere and dedicated to that belief and be commended for it. But he plainly said here, if it's the wrong water, you will still thirst. And I want that to sink in. I ask everyone here tonight, Christian and Muslim alike, and those that do not fall into either category. As I was at Yale University the other day, and I spoke to an assembly something like this. A young man came up to me and said, "I'm a humanist." I said, "Are you satisfied and fulfilled in your soul? Are you happy?" He said, "No, I'm not." We can stand and argue the merits of Christianity or Islam or 101 other philosophies all night long. But what you have in your heart when you press your pillow tonight, has that thirst been slaked and satisfied? Deep down inside, is there a peace with God? Is there a oneness with your Maker? That's the thing that really counts. I want it to sink in. And I'm not speaking just to Muslim. I'm speaking to those that call themselves Christians as well and may not be. And those that are nothing or claim nothing. If you're looking for fulfillment, for satisfaction, for assurance, for that deep settled peace, he said it. If you drink of the water that I shall give, you will never thirst again. For who hath believed our report? And to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, as a root out of dry ground. He hath no form nor comeliness. And when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He is despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. And we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. For he was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities. And the chastisement of our peace was laid on him. And with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We've turned every one to his own way. And the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all. Thank you.
I know that with a crowd like this, we're liable to be separated, so I just want to have a word there. I haven't told him a secret or anything. In fact, I'll tell you, I told him I appreciate his attitude. I appreciate the attitude of people who are here. I remember speaking one time, and a woman came up after to say, "I want you to know I came here not to listen. Could have stayed home and done that.